Hello, and an enthusiastic hello to all the listeners out there. I'm Mario, I'm the developer in this duo, and a random fact for today is that I'm actually trying to do this episode standing up. I want to see if that makes any sense, and as I figured out that I'm sitting down most of the day, and that's probably not ergonomically well, this is my way of stretching. So today you're listening me from my feet standing up, if that made any sense.
Well done. Congratulations. That's great. Hi, everybody. My name is Tom. I'm the designer in this duo. My quick random fact for today is that this last week I finally got my decking done for my backyard. So I can now barbecue and not standing in the mud, which is great. And regarding your standing up stuff, I want to say to whoever is listening and was considering standing desks, I would always say, go for it. It was a running joke a couple of years ago. How do you know who owns a standing desk? Because they will fucking tell you, and it's so true. First, I got that standing desk extension thing that goes on. You put them on and you can manually do it, and then use that for 2 years, a little over 2 years, and then upgraded from that to a proper desk that goes up and down. Just bought the electric legs that go up and down. I keep my desktop, and another random funny fact is the desktop in my home office is from the first desk I ever bought with a friend when we started our first company. So it is now, I think, 15 years old, something like that. And something like that. 14 years. I think it's 14 years. And when we started our first company, we put a lot of money from the loan that we got into office furniture. Because if you have nice furniture in an office, you're going to have good client. That was some reasoning behind it. So we had to have a nice office. And I said to myself,
house of the Neptune.
Yes, and then I said, I'm going to make this desktop work for me. So I've been carrying with me wherever I went, and when I moved to London, I moved the fucking desktop with me, and it's still here, it's still kicking. I think now this is the last use ever, so whenever I change the desk, this one is going away. But anyway,
so if there are any psychotherapists listening to this podcast, please reach out to Tomislav. He evidently has some problems.
Yes. Oh, I have a lot of problems, but I don't have that much money to pay for all the therapy that I need. But that's a whole different...
We pay with exposure,
I can pay to exposure to any therapist who works for me for exposure. Who can say, hey, I cured that motherfucker. I would love that. But topic for today is the power of mentorship. How mentors shaped our careers and how to find one, which I think is great. I had a couple of conversations with a couple of people. I'm very open about having mentors, going to therapy, having people to talk to. It's nothing to hide and be ashamed of. And I heard from numerous people that some people see it kind of strange that if you want to be a top performer or good at what you do, that if you're publicly saying that you have other people who are helping you, it kind of... that they felt that it devalues it a little bit. Like how am I not ashamed to say that I have mentors? Like it's a completely normal thing to have a mentor. So I know that you have a couple of people you want to mention. So how about you go first?
No, but before that, I just want to say every top performer is trying to be better at something, and every top performer, in order to get there, is doing it with somebody. Like if you take any sportsman, like if you take Novak Djokovic. Novak Djokovic has a coach. Why? Will that coach show him how to play tennis better? No, but that coach can help him focus on a single part of the game which he may not be objectively evaluating and tell him, hey, improve here. This is how I improve. This is what help. So, Novak Djokovic doesn't have a coach to teach him how to play tennis. Novak Djokovic has a coach to help him work on himself to become that little smidge better, to become even the greatest player.
what I would even say that I think coaches and mentors help you identify some blind spots that you're not aware of. It's kind of give you like, oh, like there's this little thing, just tweaking some of the things and giving you even sometimes just a mirror. And one of my mentors and coaches, or however we want to call them, called Tracy. She's a branding coach. And I've been doing branding my whole life, and I talk a lot about personal branding and how important it is, especially if you want to be a freelancer, how you need to build yourself into your brand and blah blah blah, whatever. And when I was working on my workshop last month, and sent her the page and tell her this is what I want to do, this is what I'm presenting to clients, she told me, well, this is great, but it sounds like very corporate bullshit. Every other person that does communication workshop, and it's not you, and I don't see you anywhere in this page. And if you want people to meet you, you need to put yourself in. Like, this is more like very bland, very corporate, very like looks like a template rather than anything else. And then she gave me a couple of advice on how to approach that and how to see myself as a brand. And I felt like she's reading from my blog. Like, this is you're giving me my own advice, and there's a running joke. Please take my advice. I'm clearly not using it, but yes, this is what mentors and coaches are for: to tell you some of the things that even if you know them, to reflect back at you, or to show you what is in your blind spot.
That actually happened to me literally last week. So I've been a member. I've been trying to build a startup since, let's say, I don't know, 2007 or something. I've failed several times, pivoted several times, built cold new things and everything. Now I'm in a startup called Pikator, and it's all nice. And I was supposed to pitch it at an event. And I've been working as a mentor with Startup Factory Zagreb, teaching other teams how to pitch. And then they would pitch me, then I would tell them, okay, your pitch is good, but you're missing this, you haven't shown me that, I don't get this from your pitch, and so on. So I'm actually quite hands-on, I'm into it, I do it fairly constantly and things like that. And then I had to prepare my own pitch. I did. And then they organized like a pitching mentoring session where we would pitch to a professional pitching coach who would then give us their feedback. So Peter Hopwood, by the way, a great pitching coach if anybody's interested, Peter Hopwood listened to me and he kind of said, yeah, what you're doing is good, but I'm not seeing this, that, this, that. And he kind of really poked holes in my pitch. And I was like, damn, it's difficult when you're on the other side, because all of his feedback was spot on. Some of it I did decide to incorporate. Some of it was okay, thanks for that, but there's a decision why not. But it's interesting how you can never be objective to yourself, and how an objective view from a mentor or from another person or just from a training buddy can open up new perceptions.
Yeah, well, agreed. But the thing with pitch is very short time, where you just don't have enough time to tell everything, but
you
sometimes
don't want to tell everything.
Yeah.
You want to tell three key points and keep audience wanting for more.
Of course, but again, it's still depending on, I don't know how long your pitch was. Was it 1 minute or 3 minutes or 5 minutes, or what is the?
My pitch was supposed to be 99 seconds, but it went on longer than they cut me off.
Okay. Yeah, but 99 seconds or like whatever it is, it's still very short amount of time, especially if you have a complicated product. But yeah, I'm not defending you in any way. I just want to,
I'm undefendable.
Yeah, I think that you are good at what you do, and I'm sure that, but we can all improve, right? We can all be better.
Yes. Especially with an objective view from the side from another person, which is kind of how we got into this.
Yes, this is actually a friend of mine who we're going to have as a guest, who is a pricing coach and mentor. One of the things that he shared with me from another mentor was that person, don't know who he is, when goes into, he's an executive, like a business coach, comes into a company, he takes payment up front. So in that case, he can be objective, and then you cannot fault him if you do not agree with what he said, right? So he's like, you can't say like, I'm not going to pay you because whatever you said is bullshit. It's like, you're going to pay me up front, and then I'm going to be objective with you and tell you what I see. I'm going to be honest with you. And I love that approach. Whenever I'm contracting for a company, I think one of the biggest strengths I have is I'm not bothered by office politics, and I can be objective because I have no personal investment in people in whatsoever, right? I want project to succeed. I want company to succeed. I want to do job that I was paid for, and I think that's a really great approach. So something that I'm gonna definitely take forward and be very open about. Like, you have to pay me up front because I want to be honest with you and tell you what's wrong, and I know that people can sometimes feel you're getting paid, so you want to tell them good stuff so they keep hiring you and you want to be kind of on a good terms. But like, no. Even if you don't want it, you paid me already, so I got what I wanted. So that kind of makes sense.
Makes sense. So do you have a mentor at the moment? And if so, what is this person helping you with?
So I have a couple. And I'm going to answer that question. Before I do, I want to ask you something. Like, how do we define a coach or a mentor? In terms of, I wrote an article a couple of years back that I called it a mentor for a day, because it was about this one guy that I've met through work. He was a father of a colleague, and he came on to the place of work as sort of a finance guy. Doesn't matter, but we kind of started hanging out all together, and he invited a couple of us back to his home, like for a coffee. Like, very, very cool, very approachable dude, and shared some amazing wisdom in one day, right? That I'm gonna take with me forever, and I'll tell you one of the key lessons that I remember from the guy. And I really, really liked the guy. He was an awesome guy. And then like a couple of weeks later, he died from cancer. And he didn't tell anyone that he has it, right? Apart from his immediate family. So everybody was surprised. So can I call someone a mentor who basically did one day of mentoring and like imparted a couple of lessons? Like, it's kind of mentorship implies this like relationship type of thing. And this was more of a, like, I think a relationship would be there if he didn't die, but he did, and there were a couple of things like that I remember from him around like pricing and how you negotiate your value and stuff like that. But one of the things that he said that stuck with me, that he said he lives his life not afraid of 2 a.m. knock on a door. Right? So whatever he does in his life, he doesn't want to go to sleep being afraid, what if somebody knocks at my door? And if someone does, he knows whoever is here to ask for help, not to break his fucking knees or something, right? So I think that's a great advice. Like, live your life so you're not afraid of a 2 a.m. knock on a door. That was great. That was great advice.
It is great advice. But going back to your question, like, how do you define a mentor? Does there have to be a relationship? I don't think. I mean, you could have a strict relationship where you and I agree, okay, now I'm going to be your mentor. We're going to meet once a week for an hour, and we're going to do it like that. But it doesn't necessarily have to be. I mean, from my experience, or let's put it this way, people that I'm going to talk about here today are people that I've worked with, and I've kind of got the attitude that wherever I'm doing something, whenever I'm doing something, there must be something I can learn from the other person. And I've been lucky to be in some great teams in the companies that I've worked with and on projects that I've worked with. And I've picked up a lot from the just people that I've worked with. There was no official mentor-mentee relationship necessarily, but when you're working with somebody, you see their strong sides, then you say, okay, I like how they are using this superpower of theirs. I'm going to try to pick it up. And if you're honest about it and ask them, okay, I like how you're doing this. Can you tell me a little bit more about your inside way of thinking? You can extract a lot of value. And this is why at any position that, in any project that you work, you can always extract value that's going to be useful for you for, the long term. And you can learn stuff and you can improve as a person. So on every project, on every job, you just get to grow.
True. I think there are like formal mentorship relationships. Like I have a mentor and this person is mentoring me or coaching me, especially if somebody's coaching you on a certain thing, then you have an expectation of them and certain accountability to them, depending on what they're coaching you, right? But yes, you can pick up things from people who are not necessarily, it's not a mentor-mentee relationship. You can still see how some people do some stuff. And like I picked up some stuff from you as well that like, you're not my mentor, right? But I pick up some of the stuff that, this is how Mario does it. So this is what I'm going to implement then. And I did this a lot of times in my life from a lot of people. I think there's value in having formal mentorship mentee relationship where people, when they recognize, okay, I'm in a point in my life where I don't know how to go further, right? I don't know what the next step is, and like, or I know what the next step is, but I don't know how to take it, what to do. And then you can seek out a mentor, because what you just described is kind of it's luck and chance. Like, oh, work with someone, you can't choose those people. You kind of find yourself in situations where you are with amazing people and you learn from them. But what if I'm a freelance designer working from home and I want to scale my business to start hiring people? I never hired a person. How do I scale myself from a single person to an agency running 3 people? It's kind of, I need a coach, I need a mentor, or you need to read books, or you need to watch videos, or whatever it is. And I would even say that I think I have some mentors that I never met in my life, but they have a lot of videos, a lot of material available, and you can learn from them. So like seminars and stuff like that. So I can say like, okay, I've been mentored by this person, not personally, but I've taken on their advice and everything they did and incorporated a lot into my life. One of those people being, for example, Jim Rohn. I've watched everything available from Jim Rohn, everything. And when I see where do I want to be as a speaker down the line when I'm gray and old, this is for me, like golden standard of how people should speak and behave and convey knowledge to other people. And can I call him a mentor then? Or is it mentor just a person that I met that I'm paying for to help me with their things, right? And you asked me, do I have mentors? Like, for example, like this branding person that I mentioned, and I hope that she's watching the video, is I met her through my friend, who was her mentor. And we connected on LinkedIn. She's in Canada. And she was like, oh, I see you're a friend of this guy. I like your profile. I think we should connect. We started talking. She was running like an online, it was during COVID, it was like an online conference type of thing where I spoke at a panel, and we kind of stayed in touch. And we don't have monetary formalized relationship where like I pay you $100 and then you mentor me, and then you pay me $100 and then I mentor you, right? But we have these conversations where it's not about shits and giggles and what's up and what's going on and what's new, but we can talk about that for 15 minutes, but then it's like, okay, where you're at, what you're doing at the moment, what do you want to achieve, and we do that. And then it's like, it helps me figure out some of the stuff. Even when she just holds a mirror, it's like, oh, like I thought about this, but haven't thought about it in this way, and actually pushes the needle forward.
But this is actually how this podcast started. I mean, you and I had like a monthly meeting where we would, catch up, and then after catching up, we would be, okay, so what are you reading? What are you doing? Well, how can I help? Do you know somebody? I have somebody in my network that might help you, and things like that. So it kind of the same thing. And was that mentoring? And was that me mentoring you, or you mentoring me?
Yeah, I don't know. It would be interesting to see what the official definition of mentorship is. We're not Joe Rogan, so I can say like, hey Jamie, look up mentorship. So I'm gonna do it on my own. Wikipedia mentorship. I might cut this and
Nah,
jump to this. We'll see. It's
people
my
love to
like,
listen to you Google. You
people
Google
don't
very
have to
vocally.
suffer through my ADHD.
No, no, you
Mentorship
vocal.
is
You really Google vocally. It's so beautiful. It's you articulate
okay.
the Googling so nicely. Please do.
Mentorship is the patronage, influence, guidance, or direction given by a mentor. Duh. A mentor is someone who teaches or gives help and advice to a less experienced and often younger person in an organizational setting. A mentor influences the personal and professional growth of a mentee. Okay, we know that.
Can I just say that that's like a circular definition? Mentorship
Yeah.
is something given by a mentor who gives mentorship.
Yeah.
That's logical.
The mentor is responsible for offering help and feedback to the person under their supervision. According to this definition, it is to use their experience to help a junior employee by supporting them in their work and career, providing comments on their work, and most crucially, offering direction to mentees as they work through problems and circumstances at work. Cool.
Okay, so disregarding the textbook definitions because they suck.
Yeah.
My question for you, apart from being on a random panel where there are random quality people that you end up meeting and having them become your mentors, how do you normally find a mentor?
Okay, here's a good one where I am a mentor, and it's a platform called ADP List, which is basically an online platform where you can be a mentor or you can find mentors, and it works for free. I haven't used it now in a couple of months because they started to implement grading systems on mentors for free. So like you're giving your time and energy for free to someone, and then people grade you. It kind of feels like bullshit. I don't know what the blowback is going to be on that. I know that a lot of mentors are not happy, but it is a place where I met a lot of people who are very good at what they do, and I was like, hey, I'm working on this. Can I have a conversation? And then hopped on a call. You can do one session, you can do multiple, doesn't matter. This is the platform where I've been helping some people through their freelance journey for months. And then I was on, so currently two people that I've worked with actively. I met one on LinkedIn actually. She reached out to me because she liked my profile and she was like, we want to work some together, and she's a couple of steps ahead of where I want to be. So it's kind of giving me direction, which is great. And then the other person is we interact a lot on LinkedIn, but we met walking the dogs in the park, which was kind of a random situation where, oh, I'm doing this. It's like, oh, I actually want to do that. Can you please help me with some of the advice on what I should do? So I was very open about it. Like, this is where I'm at the moment. This is where I want to be. You are exactly where I want to be in a year's time, for example, or like as soon as possible. What should I do? And I've kind of, through my career, whenever I would identify someone who does the thing that I want to do and is at a place where I want to be, I would be very open about it. I would say like, oh, hey, I like what you do. I want to be in the same position, not necessarily doing the same thing, but like this is the career direction that I want to take. Can I learn more of what is it actually to be an art director? Like, what does that mean, right? So I had this conversation with one guy who was an art director, and I thought 10 years ago that this is like, sounds cool, like I'm an art director. And I had this coffee with a guy who was an art director in a large agency, and he explained me what his job is, and I was like, I don't want to ever do that in my life. This sounds horrible. This is my worst nightmare. But it sounded cool, but it wasn't. Then I figured out, oh, actually, I want to work on more on user experience and working with people and solving problems, which our director does not do. And then I met one of the guys, brilliant designers who, and I know I talked about this a lot and I mentioned this numerous times, but I told him, like, I love what you do and this is what I want to do. It's just over 10 years ago now when I discovered that when UX was becoming a thing, right? And I told him, like, I think I want to do this. I've been doing design. It feels like I know what it is, but it was the point of my career where I was specializing. I was deciding, okay, I'm not going to do print anymore. I'm not going to do books. I'm not going to do 3D. I'm not going to do animations. So I'm kind of niching down, and I've got tired of websites and what can I do? And then kind of mobile apps and user experience was just emerging in the form we know it today. So we had a conversation. He was like, oh yeah, it's very, very simple. This is the one physical meter of books on the subject that you need to read, and then you go and do and gain experience, and this is how you become it. And this is what I did. But to answer your question, how do I find a mentor? I identify a person who does what I want to do and is only a couple of steps ahead of me, and I'm very open about where I am and very honest with myself, and then approach them and tell them, can I get some advice and guidance? Some people will give you, say, no one told me no, but some people will be like, oh, send me an email. They'll reply to an email, send me a message. Some people will be open for a coffee. Some people will be forward enough to allow you to reach out to them regularly, right? Like I have one guy that I talk to on average like once in 6 months. We kind of do a little catch up, but he's always has been a couple of steps ahead of me, and we've been doing like this our entire career, like moving forward in the same this. I never close the gap, and he always tells me what he learned in his past year, and I can evaluate it. Is this something I want to do? Yes or no? If yes, then ask questions. If no, also helps me because it helps me to learn what I don't want to do because I trust him. I know how he operates, so it also helps.
That's actually cool. I'm also looking. There are a few international mentorship networks, and I think if you Google like mentorship networks, that there's quite a few of them free. And again, you be selective of who you choose, but basically, like Tom said, you don't want to. And this is something that we mentioned in a previous episode. If you are currently starting, you don't want Warren Buffett to be your mentor. He's so far ahead that he forgot what it's like to be you. You need somebody who is like 2 steps ahead or 3 steps ahead or 5 steps ahead, not somebody who's like 6 million miles away. And I'm currently looking into a local network called Mentoring Byte. There are several great experts there. So they've even invited me to be a mentor. So I'm probably going to be doing that after the summer and kind of sharing my knowledge to somebody and hopefully picking somebody's brain to improve myself.
That's great. One more thing, there's an app called Mentorship 1-to-1 app for the phone. It also works. I use that one. But I lost my train of thought. You mentioned
several steps ahead
of you.
Too many steps ahead.
Warren Buffett. Oh, so today I actually had a mentorship conversation with my mentee, for the lack of a better word, a guy that I'm helping with in his career. And this is how far removed I am in this specific area where he's doing designs for wrapping a van, like promotional like things that go on a car and a van. And he's like, how do I price for this? And I was like, I really don't know because I've been doing that 15, 18 years ago. And back then it was a whole different industry, different era, different time, different company, different agency model. Like I have no idea how that specific industry evolved in the last however years I haven't not been doing it. I was like, I'm sorry, this is where I cannot help you. Like there are, we of course we talked about how to determine your pricing. So I said like you have the tools to determine your pricing. Just apply the same tools to a new thing that you now do. Right? It's the same thing. But I was like, how much? Like, is this enough? I was like, I have no idea. Like I don't know. I don't know what the standard is.
But were you able to maybe connect him with somebody who does? Because that's also a value of a mentor. Like, hey, mentor, can you help me with this? No, but I know who can.
I really don't know anybody in that industry anymore. Like the graphic design thing is something that I abandoned when mobile apps became a thing. So it's just kind of because it kind of diverged. At that point, I was doing design of everything. Whatever needs to be designed, I designed. But when mobile apps came, and that kind of was very interesting for me, and I love my phone and spending time on my phone. So, okay, this is obviously what I want to do. So I haven't touched graphics since, not counting occasional business card or branding that I do for friends. But professionally, I haven't been doing that for over a decade now. So I have no idea.
That's fair. Another thing that I'm puzzled with is, and this is again something that I need to be working on. So, how to get most out of mentoring or even any sort of lesson, somebody will give you advice, but then it takes a lot of discipline, it takes a lot of focus, it takes a lot of energy to do it, and then ask feedback and all of that. So, what are your tips and tricks how to make the most out of the experience from a mentee side? Teach me, oh smart one, oh wise one.
This is a great question, actually. So I'll actually reply from a perspective of my mentee, because I think this guy has the best approach ever. So I've worked with a couple of dozen people in the last year. And this guy specifically is the staple of how everybody should do it, I think, at least from a mentor perspective, right? He comes prepared. He knows what he wants to talk about. So he knows, like, this is the topic for today. So he has an agenda on what he wants to be mentored on, right? So he knows, like, today I want to talk about this. This is my immediate need. He's currently solving this problem. So he doesn't want to talk about some esoterical, vague stuff. Like, this is the problem that I have. Comes with questions, so comes prepared, has a pen and paper ready. As I'm talking, he's writing shit down and expanding on the topic. And then once we are done, then he flips the script and says, okay, what else? Like, what did I miss? And so he knows what so there's a chart that I don't know what the name of the chart is or who invented it. It's like a four square chart, and it says there are things that you know on intuitive level, like this is what I know and what I live and breathe, and there are the things that you know that you need to think about. Like, I know this tool set, but if I want to know this, I have to work on it. It doesn't come naturally to me. It doesn't come from my subconscious mind. Then there are things that you know that you don't know. So you know the things that you don't know. And then the fourth quadrant is there are things that I don't even know that exist, and I don't know that I don't know these things. So he opened up a possibility for me to show him what's in that fourth quadrant. So he's like, okay, what else am I missing that I am not even aware of? And then based on everything that we discussed, if you're a good mentor, not saying that I'm an amazing mentor, but if you are perceptive, you will flag some, like, okay, he's not even aware of this. He doesn't see this. So my advice would be, as a mentee, come in. And I try to do this, but I'm a little bit of a lazy asshole. So I don't come in with a pen and paper like I'm going to remember everything. But I do record some of the sessions. So I do record the videos. I never come back to them. But if there's something very important I wanna go back to, it's there. It exists on my hard drive. I don't delete them. So I have now like gigabytes of videos. But I think that would be the best approach, would be come prepared, so you are not wasting your mentor's time. So like, oh, what do you want to talk about today? Like, fuck, like, I don't know, man. But if you have a specific need, specific problem that needs solving, let's do that. And then if we have time, we can open it up to a couple of other things.
All right. And
whew, I feel smart now. I was like, oh my God, I had no idea I have this in me.
You is very wise.
Very wise, very wise.
Yeah,
my beard is old.
And another piece of advice there is, after the session, again, this is something that we discussed when we discussed meetings. This is something where that is going to be repeated through a lot of the episodes. But basically try to make the things that you learn into actionable tips. So if a mentor tells you, okay, this is an approach that you could use and things like that, decide, okay, this might work for me, or I'm going to dismiss this because it's not going to work for me. But if you decide that it does, make it into an actionable tip. Okay, I'm going to implement this in a way that then next week I'm going to then in the following week I'm going to and then I'm going to show this back to Tom so he can tell me you completely missed the objective.
Yeah. That's true. What I personally, I don't like the OKRs, especially within business settings. I don't like that because it puts a certain pressure on like, oh, this is what I'm going to achieve, and then like life happens, priorities change, and kind of I don't like that. But in terms of this is what I would like to go, like a direction, like a sort of a North Star type of thing, but it doesn't have a firm deadline. By November, I'm going to be whatever, right? It's not as rigid. But one thing that I did, and now that I've thought of it, I think I haven't done it during COVID because there was nothing to update on. But I keep a list of people that I like and respect their opinion, like professionally, and some close friends as well. But mostly people who are within my professional network that I value their input on. And before COVID, what I would do is I would write an email, like a sort of a personal update from me on where I am professionally, like what I'm doing, what I'm writing, what I'm focusing on, like stuff like that. So it would be like a not too long of an email, but it would have like a couple of chapters, like this is where I'm currently working on as freelancer, that my company is doing this, I have a new client doing that, I just bought a motorcycle, I'm driving around, if you want to meet in person, like drop me a location where you want to sync on my calendar. So I kind of open it like that as well. A couple of great movies that I've seen in the last couple of months, books that I'm reading, like kind of update on like a snapshot of where I am and what I'm doing. So when we have a next conversation, you can pick something out of that, and we don't have to. And surprisingly, what comes out of that is people will be like, oh, you mentioned this. I have a client who's doing this, and a guy, do you know someone like that? Or can I recommend you for this? It always gets like the little gears in your head moving. And at least from the group of people that I have, it's always positive. People are always very welcoming to it. And it kind of helps bring up new things that you haven't thought about. So I would suggest people start doing that. But enough people, of... I don't want to keep yammering.
And some people just probably mark it as spam, so that's also okay.
Maybe, but it's not a newsletter. It goes from my personal email, right? So it's... anyway, you said you wanted to mention a couple of people. Like, give me a name, but before you do that, give me one first thing that comes on the top of your mind that you remember that come from a mentor specifically. Like, Mario, this is the wisdom I'm imparting on you, and then you apply that in your life. Does something come to mind?
Providing feedback, both positive and negative, by Mr. Alvaro Oliveira. He was working with me in TopTal on my day one. I come in on day one, there's a situation, I make a decision, and I fuck up. Day one. Day one, literally. And the way he told me off was so professional, so polite, so nice, and so don't ever do that again or I'll, or you'll be fired, that it was a beauty to be on the receiving end of it. And afterwards, we worked together for several years. He's an amazing guy. I've learned a lot about him. But the way he was able to lead teams and notice problems, address problems openly, address problems directly, and while keeping everything on a professional level with everybody understanding why something is a problem and why something is being addressed and what are you doing wrong and how you have to fix it and so on. It was a beauty to watch that, and it was a beauty to be on the receiving end of it. And in a way, it was, through personal experience, but in a way, he was teaching all of us in his team how to do it. And I know that everybody from that team now we are all leading our own teams now in different companies and so on. And I know that we've all taken those lessons with us to our new positions. So that's like the best example that I can give you.
Sounds amazing. And I know him, so I can attest to that he's a really, really great guy. You have a joke ready for the terrible joke of the day?
I do have a joke ready for a terrible joke of the day.
Give it
Where
to
do
me.
rainbows go when they are misbehaving? To a prism.
Okay, that's good. That's
Pink Floydy.
Pink Floyd. Yes, I was about to say that. Couldn't remember. I wanted to say. I almost said Led Zeppelin. So, yeah,
Okay, I saved you.
you saved me.
Yeah.
It's
Our four
Pink Floyd,
listeners
Led
would
Zeppelin.
think much less of you if you said Led Zeppelin out loud.
It's just not my generation, man. It's like I'm
Pink
post
Floyd
that
don't have a
generation.
generation. Pink Floyd is generationless, less.
Sure. Okay. Maybe. Fuck, I had a joke and forgot it. Okay, I remember. It's a terrible one. Okay. What did a frog crossing the street say? Cra-
Yes. That's horrible.
It's horrible. I told you it's a horrible, horrible joke. I heard it from my godson. He's 11, so he thinks it's hilarious. Kids then, kids today. I don't know. But anyway, I want to say thank you everybody for listening. Thank you, Mario, for all of the wisdom that you shared. And this was great. This
Yes.
was great. We look forward
Like,
to the next one.
subscribe, share to your mother, all of the things that go with it. And yeah, we'll be blurting out some more wisdom again soon. And that's it.
Bye.
Enthusiastic goodbye. Woohoo!